Peace, y'all. What's going on? It is your boy SB, just tapping in. And this conversation, this vlog is going to be just a short discussion on what's been going on in social media and in pop culture as it relates to Chris Brown, right? So there's been a lot of controversy surrounding this man for the past months. He's supposed to do a performance, and they played in his face with the performance in honor of Michael Jackson. And that was, when I say they, I mean, the institution that is within media and entertainment. But we're not talking about that today. What we're talking about recently is what is going on social media and the bashing and the vilification of Chris Brown because he decided to lend his talents and his artistry and his voice to help another up-and-coming artist, which would be Chloe, whose career is blossoming and blooming. And in response to the album or the song cover being released, just the announcement of it being released, of that these two great artists collabing, people were in an uproar, right? People were in an uproar about her choosing to collab with Chris Brown. And I typically don't on this channel talk about pop culture and stuff like that. It's not really what my page is centered around, but today we're gonna get into it. We're gonna get into some things because I feel like this is a microcosm for what continuously happens within the Black community, which I'm obviously a part of, right? And I see a pattern that constantly happens when it relates to our legends, right? I see a pattern where we allow the media to persuade us into turning our backs and vilifying and bashing our iconic, legendary artists. We saw it happen with Michael Jackson, how the media just threw his name in the gutter. For whatever reason, we're not getting into the politics behind it, but in the end, I know that man was innocent. And many of his supporters, I'm not even the biggest Michael Jackson fan. Like, I didn't grow up on Michael Jackson. So I'm not even the biggest Michael Jackson fan, but I recognize talent and I recognize icons and I respect icons. So we allowed the media to drag Michael Jackson, and, in the end, this man, his life was taken away shortly, We allowed the media to drag Whitney Houston for years and years and years and bash her and her relationship with Bobby and her battling the disease of addiction. The disease of addiction. Not that she was just an addict, but she had a disease of addiction. And many of us within the Black community know somebody who has suffered and is suffering from the disease of addiction. We allowed the media to persuade us to make her out to be this bad person when she contributed so much to us, to our parents, to our grandparents, their happiness, to Black culture as a whole. And we lost her very early. And I think about artists like today. We have Lil' Kim, who's an icon in the rap game. And we allowed the media to not make her into something different, but to forget about the talents and the contributions that she made to hip hop and to Black culture, and what we still see today, and how all these girls coming up today emulate her. We allowed them to erase that and turn her into a spectacle, And it's just a constant cycle that whenever the media and the powers that be are unhappy with these artists for whatever reason, we're not getting into that, it's so easy for us to just bash them. And I don't want this to happen to Chris Brown the way it is happening, and I see a pattern. And we know Chris has struggles of his own. And the last thing that I want is for all this bashing to lead to something that we don't want to see. So I need to say something because it's just getting out of control. And it's just like, why do we do this? Black people, why do we do this? Why do we turn on our legends? We only do this. We're the only community that does this. White people, you never hear them saying, oh, it could only be one Madonna, or it could only be one Dolly Parton. We're not gonna give Madonna her shine because Dolly Parton has to be the number one. Why is it that we have this crabs in a bucket mentality where we're always bringing people down? We want them to fail. We want them to not get opportunities because of things, human things that they've been through, that we get a chance to see in the public eye because they don't have any control or say so over protecting the private things in their lives. Now let's talk about Chris Brown. A lot of people have a lot of complaints about him because of his past. And I understand that. But people, it happened 17 years ago. 17 years ago. And no, this man is not perfect by any means, but who is? Who is? And furthermore, he's done what he needed to do to redeem himself. He's changed his behavior. He's grown up. He's matured. He has not gone around beating other women. We don't hear about him beating other women. And to this day, we really don't know what happened with the situation with him and Maria. We never probably will. So why are we allowing ourselves to bring him down 17 years later over something that we still don't really know the full scoop on? We still don't know it. Just like we don't know what happened to Biggie. We don't know what happened to Rihanna and Chris in that car. We don't know the full story. But yet, we still bring things from the past. And we bring this man down. And we tear him down. And we forget all the contributions. This man is legendary. Like, he can write, he can dance, he can sing, he can do all these other talents as well. And I just want to point out that we need to stop this. We need to stop this. And we need to stop focusing such attention on people who have tried to redeem themselves, who have actually, put the efforts into being better people. When are we going to take that same energy and put it towards the people who actually are still to this day doing things to destroy our communities and to destroy other people and to destroy artists, people who are doing real damage? Why don't we ever give them that smoke? Why is it that we have to give so much smoke to Chris when he hasn't really done anything towards anyone? And people like to say, oh, he's a colorist. Okay, he wouldn't be the only one that's a colorist. He wouldn't be the only one that's a colorist. And what makes him absolved of redemption and of forgiveness from other people that we know who are outright colorists? And I'm not saying he is, because I don't know the specifics, but I know that that's the theme that's going on. But at the end of the day, if his preference is light-skinned women, that's his preference. That has nothing to do with me. Ladies, that has nothing to do with you. You may want Chris, but you may not be his type. You're not going to be everybody's type. And I know as black people, we go through that a lot. And as black women especially, I know y'all go through that a lot, where darker-skinned black women have to fight to show their beauty and be seen as beautiful. I get that. But Chris Brown is not the bearer of all of that. We need to heal. We need to heal, and we need to furthermore put our energies. If you're going to be negative and you're going to have that smoke and that energy to bring people down who aren't good, we need to direct that towards the people who are actually not doing good in society. And it need not be us, like as in other black people. You need to be putting that energy towards the establishments that are in place. And this is a whole nother conversation I'm not getting into. But as an example, there's so much shit going on in today's society that we could have smoke for so many different establishments and bodies of legislation and governmental officials and lead executives within the music business and the entertainment business who are known predators, who are known artists, who are known peists. Like, the list goes on. There are people who are actually convicted of these things and that have open cases on these things, and there's no smoke for them. No absolute smoke at all. But y'all want to have so much energy towards Chris, who has really fought to be a better person, and his music actually inspires people, and he actually tries to put out positivity through his music. He's not the savior of mankind, and he's not a role model. But people want to make these artists into role models when they were never role models to begin with. If we haven't noticed that now, based on where we are in society and everything that's being revealed, then you really got yourself to blame. Because when I listen to these people's music, I'm not looking at them as role models. And a lot of times, I'm able to distinguish who's the good and the bad. And I just don't see Chris Brown as a bad person, like an evil person in that way. There's definitely people out there in the industry that we know are evil people. Where's the smoke for them? Let's change our perception, and most importantly, let's preserve our legends and our icons. We don't have that many left, y'all. It's going to be 2030, and these people that we have looked up to, God forbid, they may not be here any longer with us because we allowed the industry to push them out. We allowed that by giving the industry a green thumb or a green light to say, yeah, you could bash that person. We need to have these people's backs so that they know not to mess with them, so that they know to put respect on their name. And we really need to stick up for one another. So that's all that I wanted to say. And I hope somebody takes this message and it, sheds a light on the bigger theme at hand and how we really need to be there for one another.